Everybody like and subscribe, praise the bell icon. Story number 1.
It was a slow Thursday night in October when Ethan, a 19-year-old delivery driver for a Domino's in a quiet Midwestern town, got a call-in order that would stick in his memory for the rest of his life. It came in just after 11 p.m., the last order of the night. A large pepperoni, thin crust, and an order of Parmesan bread bites. The address was odd, deep on the edge of town, nearly out by the tree line that bordered the long-forgotten quarry. The name on the order was just A. Porter. Nothing strange, but the phone number listed gave back only static when Ethan tried to call to confirm. Still, policy was policy, and the order had already been paid for online, plus a generous $20 tip. He set out, the pizza box hot on the passenger seat and the bag of bread bites steaming against the console. The roads were empty, and a light fog was beginning to roll in. It took him nearly 25 minutes to get out to the address, which ended at a one-lane gravel road overrun with roots and broken branches. His GPS kept glitching, spinning wildly before freezing completely. Ethan finally saw the house, a rotting 2-story farmhouse with one porch light flickering faintly. Every window was pitch black, and the screen door hung crooked on one hinge. As he stepped out, pizza in hand, the silence hit him like a wall. No insects, no rustling trees, just nothing. He walked up to the door and knocked. Nothing. He knocked again, louder, and the door creaked open a few inches, as if pushed by a breeze he hadn't felt. Inside, everything was dark. He called out, "Domino's delivery for A. Porter." Silence. Then, from deep within the house, a voice, hoarse, almost childlike, answered, "Come in." Ethan froze. It was against policy to enter a house, especially one this off. He called again, "Can you come to the door?" But the voice repeated, a bit more urgent this time, "Come in." Despite everything in his gut screaming no, he stepped inside. The air was thick, rancid like mold and iron. His foot landed on something soft and wet. When he glanced down with the flashlight on his phone, he saw what looked like a pile of raw meat. Except it wasn't animal. It was a mass of something organic, unidentifiable, leaking onto the wooden floor. He spun back toward the door, but it had closed behind him. No breeze, no noise, just closed. The voice called again, closer this time. "I'm in the kitchen." He turned the corner, shining his light down the hallway, and the wallpaper looked like it had been torn in long, claw-like rips. The smell was overwhelming now, death, thick and syrupy. Ethan's light hit the kitchen doorway, and for a split second, he thought he saw someone standing just beyond the edge of the beam. Pale. Still. The figure ducked back into the shadows so quickly that he questioned if it had been there at all. Then something began walking down the hallway toward him. Slow, deliberate, wet-sounding. Ethan backed up, stumbling over the pizza box he had dropped. The hallway seemed to stretch as he tried to get back to the front door, but every step he took, the thing behind him got louder, closer. When he finally yanked open the door, he didn't question how it had unlocked. He just ran. Down the steps, into the night, back to his car. He threw himself inside and sped off so fast the gravel tore out under the wheels. His rearview mirror showed nothing but darkness. Back at Domino's, Ethan tried to explain what happened. Like no one believed him. The address? It didn't exist in the system the next day. The order had vanished. Even the transaction history showed nothing for that time frame. 2 nights later, another driver, Jen, got an order to the same area. She laughed when Ethan warned her not to go. She never came back. The only thing they found was her car, abandoned in the woods. Inside, still warm, was a Domino's box, the pizza untouched, and next to it in the passenger seat was a bag of Parmesan bread bites, still steaming. No one takes orders past 10:30 anymore. And if a customer ever asks you to come inside, don't, no matter how big the tip is.
Story number 2.
In the fall of 2017, in a small town outside of Cincinnati, a Domino's pizza location quietly became the source of a local legend. One never confirmed officially, but whispered about by employees and former drivers like a curse you shouldn't speak too loud. The story begins with a man named Aaron, a 22-year-old delivery driver who had started just 3 weeks before things began to spiral. He was the usual kind of hire, quiet, kept to himself, dependable. He took the late-night shifts no one wanted. The store closed at midnight, but deliveries kept going until 1:30 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. That's when the calls started coming in. They all came from the same address, 1424 Alder Lane. At first, it seemed normal. A large pepperoni, extra cheese, always paid in cash, always left at the doorstep with a note taped to the door. "Please don't knock. My baby is sleeping." Aaron thought it was odd, sure, but he didn't think much of it. The tip was always generous, 10, sometimes even $20. The third time he delivered there, he noticed something strange. The house was dark, not just dim, but entirely blacked out. No porch light, no movement inside, and a heavy, musty smell that lingered even outside the front door. Still, the money was there under the mat, the pizza left on the steps, and he moved on. But the unease stuck with him. By the fifth delivery, he mentioned it to a coworker, Justine, who froze when she heard the address. "Alder Lane?" she asked, her voice dropping. "Are you sure?" Aaron nodded, confused. "There's no one living at 1424. That place burned down like 6 years ago. Family died inside, a mother and her baby. They said she fell asleep with the oven on." Aaron laughed it off, thinking she was messing with him. But that night, after another delivery to the same address, curiosity got the better of him. He drove back after his shift, expecting to see the lights on, some kind of proof he was being trolled. But the house, it was burned out, completely hollow, just the skeletal frame, blackened beams, and overgrown weeds swallowing the front walk. No door, no signs of life. He told the manager the next morning. They checked the system. The call was logged, placed from a blocked number. The address was real, entered manually, not from the app. They dismissed it as a prank and told him to ignore future calls from that address. But they didn't stop. Calls from blocked numbers started coming in more frequently, and not just to Aaron. Other drivers, even the store's landline, always asking for a pizza to Alder Lane. One night, a new hire named Chris took a delivery there. He never came back. They found his car the next morning on the side of the road near the woods behind Alder Lane. The engine was still warm. The pizza sat untouched in the front seat. Chris's phone was found in the bushes 30 feet away. It was unlocked, camera open. His last photo was blurry, shaky, but you could make out the corner of the burned house and a figure, thin, pale, holding what looked like a swaddled bundle. Domino's corporate got involved after that. There were rumors they tried to hush it up, sent down someone from their legal team. The location stayed open, but the late-night deliveries were quietly ended. The number used to place the Alder Lane orders, it never showed up again. Aaron quit a week later. He said he kept waking up at night, hearing a knock on his apartment door. Always faint, always exactly 3 taps. When he finally looked through the peephole one night, he saw nothing, except a Domino's box sitting on his doorstep. He hadn't ordered anything, and when he opened the box, the inside was empty, except for a single burned pacifier. He moved to another state within the month, but according to a forum post made under a throwaway account 2 years later, he never really escaped it. The post was short, just a few lines. "They found me again. The smell came back. I saw her reflection in the oven door." That post was the last anyone heard from him. To this day, new hires at that Domino's location are told, quietly after hours, not to take any deliveries near Alder Lane. The managers don't talk about it, but the drivers know. And if a call comes in from a blocked number asking for extra cheese, no one answers.
Story number 3.
In the spring of 2009, a Domino's pizza in Conover, North Carolina, became the epicenter of one of the most unsettling food industry scandals in internet history. It wasn't a murder, not in the traditional sense, but it was horrifying enough to destroy careers, close a store, and send shockwaves through an entire brand. Christy Hammonds and Michael Setzer were 2 Domino's employees working late shifts, bored, unsupervised, and seemingly detached from any shred of human decency. What started as a twisted joke would spiral into something far more disturbing. One night, they decided to film themselves tampering with customer food, not just spitting in it, which is horrifying enough, but committing grotesque acts of food contamination that would later be posted on YouTube, titled Domino's Video Prank. The video starts innocently enough, Setzer in full Domino's uniform, seemingly preparing sandwiches for delivery. But then things turn stomach-churning. He sticks cheese up his nose before placing it on a sandwich. He farts on salami. He scratches his butt and touches food without washing his hands. At one point, he pretends to wipe his ass with a sponge used to clean the counters. Meanwhile, Christie films the whole thing, giggling off camera, egging him on, narrating their revolting performance like it was some harmless prank. They claimed none of the food was actually delivered to customers, but that didn't matter. The damage was done. The video went viral almost overnight. Domino's didn't even know it existed until a blogger tipped them off. By then, it had been viewed hundreds of thousands of times. People started calling the health department. The local franchise owner was blindsided, horrified, and worse, nobody could prove if the food was really discarded or had been served to unsuspecting customers. The store was immediately shut down and professionally sanitized. Both employees were tracked down and arrested. The charges? Felony food tampering, a serious federal offense. Setzer and Hammonds were booked into jail, and Domino's corporate scrambled to contain the fallout. The CEO himself appeared on YouTube, apologizing, trying to regain trust that was hemorrhaging by the hour. But the true horror wasn't just in the video. It was in the realization that something like this could happen anywhere, at any time. That the food handed to you through your car window could have passed through hands that didn't care. Hands that could be mocking you behind your back, desecrating your meal just for laughs. The incident forced Domino's and the rest of the fast food industry to re-examine how easily trust can be violated in the shadows of anonymity and poor oversight. Even years later, people who had seen the original video said they couldn't eat Domino's again without thinking of that nose cheese sandwich or the sound of laughter as the food was defiled. Some swear they saw the video before it was taken down and still gag remembering it. Others say that no matter how many new safety protocols were introduced, the damage had already been carved deep into the public psyche. It wasn't just a bad joke, it was a viral horror show. And for a brief moment, it made everyone look at their takeout order with suspicion, wondering what might be happening behind the kitchen doors when no one's watching.
Story number 4.
It was a quiet Thursday night in Columbus, Ohio, just a week before Christmas when Anthony, a college junior, clocked in for his closing shift at the Domino's off Livingston Avenue. He'd done the late shift a dozen times before. It was usually dead after 10 p.m. Maybe a couple of stoned students or a night nurse needing a pizza to get through the shift. Nothing ever weird happened. Until that night, the store was short-staffed. Just Anthony in the back prepping dough and stretching crusts, and Danny, a new driver who just transferred from Cincinnati. Danny was twitchy and talked too fast. Said he liked the late shift because weird things happened at night. Anthony had laughed it off, thinking it was a joke. Around 11:40 p.m., an order came in. Large pepperoni, thin crust, extra sauce. The customer's name was just Eli. No phone number. No instructions. Just an address in a quiet residential area 10 minutes from the store. Danny grabbed the pie and headed out. 25 minutes passed. No word from Danny. Anthony figured traffic maybe got him. But then 30 turned into 45. He called. Straight to voicemail. That was weird. Danny's shift was supposed to end at midnight, but by 12:30, there was still no sign of him. Anthony called the store manager, who told him to close up and call the cops if Danny didn't show up soon. Just before he could start shutting down the ovens, the store phone rang. The caller ID showed Danny's number. Finally, Anthony picked up and said, "Dude, where the hell are you?" But it wasn't Danny's voice on the other end. It was a low, crackling whisper. "He won't be coming back." Anthony froze. "Who is this?" The voice didn't answer, just slow, labored breathing. Then a faint, wet sound, like something being dragged across a tile floor. Then a soft, deliberate chewing noise. And then the line went dead. Anthony tried calling back, but again it went straight to voicemail. He called 911. Cops came fast, given the circumstances. They pinged Danny's phone and tracked it to the delivery address, the one listed under Eli. They let Anthony ride along. When they arrived at the house, it was pitch dark. No porch light, no movement inside. The cruiser's headlights washed over a pizza box lying open on the porch, the contents half-eaten and steaming in the cold air. No sign of Danny. The officers knocked, then forced the door open. What they found inside made both men stagger back. The place was filthy, not just dirty, decaying. Rotting meat left out on counters, black mold crawling up the walls. But the worst part was the basement. Down there, under a single bare bulb swinging from the ceiling, was Danny's uniform shirt, hung up on the wall like a trophy. Below it was an empty pizza bag, soaked in something dark. And in the corner, a stack of Domino's boxes, all with different names, all unopened, cops dusted for prints. Nothing, not even Danny's. The homeowner listed on the lease hadn't lived there in over 5 years. The neighbors thought the place was abandoned. They said the lights would sometimes flicker on in the middle of the night, and they'd hear delivery drivers knocking, always just one knock, then nothing. Danny was never found. The only clue they ever recovered was security footage from a neighbor's ring cam. At 11:52 p.m., it showed Danny walking up to the porch, holding the pizza. He rang the bell and waited. Then on the footage, you can see the door open just a crack, and Danny starts talking. He's nodding, smiling. Then suddenly he stiffens. The smile drops. He doesn't scream, doesn't run, just walks inside, and the door slowly shuts behind him. The timestamp on the footage shows the door didn't open again until exactly 3:33 a.m. A tall, thin figure in a dark hoodie steps out, holding Danny's pizza bag. The figure looks directly at the camera, though you can't see the face, and then it walks into the woods behind the house. They checked with Domino's corporate. In the last 2 years, 4 drivers had gone missing in similar circumstances. Late-night orders, no callback number, a first name only, all from different states. None of them ever came back. Now, Domino's doesn't allow deliveries to unverified addresses after 11 p.m. They don't talk publicly about the disappearances, but ask any seasoned driver about Eli, and they'll go quiet. Anthony quit 2 days later. He moved back home and never worked in food service again. Sometimes, late at night, he says he still hears that whisper on the phone. He won't be coming back. And sometimes, when he orders pizza at home, he waits at the window, just to make sure the driver walks away after the delivery. So far, they all have.